Hey, good morning. I'm Raleigh Brown. This is Curve Flattening Concert number 543. And Pam Zappardino is the first one in, and then David Harleyson and Slim Edelman. Good to see you guys. I have missed you over this whole week, although I've had a pretty good time myself. I'll tell you more about it as we go along. I will take this moment for a good cloinking. So here's to good fellowship, good community, good coffee, good music, good dogs, good guitars. All the good stuff. Okay, and I see that Bob McKenna and Ann Mintz and Michael Tierson and Lori Payne and Steve Davidson and Marlene Burke are here, and Carol Pred. Hello to you all. And we'll see what the we'll wait a couple minutes here. I can tell you a little bit. So and Michael Anthony Wood and Donna Greenberg. This is kind of a distinctive morning here because Charlie the dog is not in the room. He has wandered off. He got a new ball a couple days ago or yesterday. I think it was 2 days ago. And it's about this big. And it's he likes it. So he's been chasing it a lot in the backyard. There's video on my page. And he gets tired and he comes in here and wants to be cool. So I think he goes out there and flattens his little dog belly out onto the linoleum instead of being on the carpet, which is okay by me. And there is Mike Verbick and Deb Levy-Clark too, and Warren and Janelle and Brian Kuiper and Howard Hobbs and Rhonda Scott Merrick and Kathy Marzik. Good to see all you guys. So it's about time to start a little music here. Since you guys weren't here a minute ago, I will cloink again. Can never get too much cloinking in. Cloink. And first up today, a Tom Waits song that was requested. I can't remember by who, but I have it written down somewhere. Tight slack-clad girls on the graveyard shift do the cement stroll, catch the midnight drift, cigar-chewing Charlie in his newspaper nest, grifting hot horse tips on who's running the best. And I'm blinded by the neon, don't try and change my tune. I thought I heard a saxophone, I'm drunk on the moon. Now the moon is a silver slipper, it's pouring champagne stars, and Broadway's like a serpent, pulling shiny tied-down cars, and Larimer is teeming with that undulated beat, as some Bonneville goes screaming its way wildly down the street. And I'm blinded by the neon, don't try and change my tune. I thought I heard a saxophone, I'm drunk on the moon. Hearts flutter and race, the moon is on the wane. Tarts mutter their dream hopes, the night will ordain. Come dancers and schemers, cherry delight. And there's a Cleveland-bound greyhound, and it cuts through the night. And I've hocked all my yesterdays, don't try and change my tune. I thought I heard a saxophone, I'm drunk on the moon. Drunk on the Moon by Tom Waits. That last chord was specifically for Linda Wurster, who loves weird chords. That was a B-flat 6-9 sharp 11, if you're keeping score. And I welcome you all here. Rich Laughlin is here. I'm going to lose track of who I've said hi to. Cliff Wagner is there with Ann. And Mark Steele, good to see you, Mark, and Laura Jackson Selden, the Gibson girl, and I said Rich Laughlin, and I think I said hi to all the rest of you. Michael Miller is here from North Carolina, and Keith Shaw, a little bit late, but he's here, and Margie Sprouse is here on YouTube today, and Karen Beatty, my dear friend. And she got to see my friend's Magpie in New York last weekend. I apologize for the snorking and allergy-related sneezifying here. And Aisling Bain is here. Hey, Aisling. And I have taken an Allegra. It's fighting an uphill battle. The pollen here is really bad, and somebody who lives in this house carries a lot of it around with him. I'm not saying who. So next up, I have, this was a request by Carol Pratt, I think. And it's an old traditional tune. Unlike Carol's usual jazz standard requests, this is, I think, what you call a folk song. Okay, let's do this right. Shenandoah, which I actually recorded a version of on the Sunday morning CD, still available on my website. So we move on. Let me see if I've missed any interesting comments here. Not that they aren't all interesting. Dwight Shoemate is here, home on Sundays now. Good man. So Dwight works at George's Music down there in North Wales on many days of the week, and so sometimes he can be here and sometimes he cannot. But he could always just come over here and knock on the door and say, "Hey, Raleigh, let's play a couple tunes," but he rarely does. So anyhow, still no sign of Charlie. I hope he's okay out there. So next up is an original. This is my request for today. I get requests too. On the road long ago, back when my ducks were all in a row, up on stage with an old friend, we played our songs, we took a break, then I made my first mistake. My whole life's been up and down since then. I was standing there with a glass of beer, just taking in the atmosphere, when an old flame snuck in and stole a kiss. If I knew then what I know now, I probably would have known just how destiny would steal much more than this. Fate is such a funny thing. A life can turn on the beat of a butterfly's wing. Time so bitter, time so sweet. And it all began on Hessler Street. From that day my life changed, all my plans were disarranged. I was living under a spell. I'd love to blame somebody else, but I had done this to myself. In time I knew it all too well. The summer went by in a flash. My former life had turned to ash. There was no one to whom I could return. And when the whole thing fell apart, there I sat with my broken heart, and one sad lesson to learn. Fate is such a funny thing. A life can turn on the beat of a butterfly's wing. Time so bitter, time so sweet. It all began on Hessler Street. Now if I could go back and take one more shot at that first mistake, there's no telling where I'd be. You roll the dice and you take your shot. You learn to live with what you've got. What could have been remains a mystery. Fate is such a funny thing. A life can turn on the beat of a butterfly's wing. Time so bitter, time so sweet. It all began on Hessler Street. Everything turned on Hessler Street. So that's On Hessler Street. It's actually my first mistake, subtitled On Hessler Street for the Ohioans in the crowd. So I see Tom Albright is here. Hi, Tom. And my buddy Charlie Bryant has checked in. So Charlie and I amazingly got to see each other in person this week. The last time I saw Charlie in person, I think, was 1981 at the Glen Echo Folk Festival. And that's where we met. We were both kind of playing ragtime guitar and formed an immediate bond, which has lasted with great empty spaces in the middle for these 42 years. So Charlie came out. We did. I got to spend 3 days with my buddies Magpie, Greg Artsner and Terry Leonino, down in Tacoma Park, Maryland, and we went to Charlie Pilser's great recording studio, Tonal Park, and there we recorded 2 nights of live concerts. Where we had a small invited audience. Charlie was there one of those nights. And we came up with a bunch of great material. I have some rough mixes here, which I'm not at liberty to share. But I thought it went pretty well. We had a really good time. It was great to hang on with those guys. It was really good for my soul to get out of this house for a couple days, to get away from the little monster. And as much as I love him, and just be, it was almost like the before times. You know, we were there, old friends who'd hung out together for many years, and we pretty much didn't have to wear masks, and we'll see if that turned out okay in the next few days. And it was just a great time, and I was so happy to be playing the guitar with those guys again. I took the Martin along with me, and that's what I used, and it performed beautifully. It's a great guitar. So that was that, and Charlie and I got to say hi and trade a few friendly remarks back and forth, and like that. And there's a picture of the two of us on the Dennison's page, and that was lovely. And then like that. So I have other announcements as well. So first of all, as always, there is a PayPal and Venmo thing here for the Charlie the Dog Veterinary and Educational Fund. So Charlie and I are having a little bit of a rough time. He and I get along fine, but we can't find a veterinarian who can succeed at vaccinating him yet. So we're working on that. And he stayed here with a house sitter for 3 days. And he actually did pretty well, but he accidentally swiped her in the eye once. So she's a little leery of coming back unless I do a little more work with him, which I will try to do before my July camp. So that battle goes on. But other than that, Charlie's a pretty good dog. I was thinking of writing a Charlie Diaries entry today because I haven't done one in a month or so. And I may get to that. If so, it'll show up on the page. Anyhow, so part of the thing is I may have to take Charlie to a veterinary behaviorist, in which case your contributions would be greatly appreciated because those folks aren't cheap. And then I wanted to mention a couple other things. The Invisibles are Kit Serikaku, Judith Fox, Joel Biget, and Mario Prue. And there might be some more. If I don't say hi to you, it's not because I'm being snooty. It's because I didn't see your name here. Sometimes out of my own sheer ignorance, and sometimes because Facebook doesn't cooperate with sending your names to my software. Okay, and so that's that. Invisibles, PayPal. I want to mention a couple things. For those of you in the Philly area, I will be playing with Girls from Mars, who are a great trio of women singers who also have other backup musicians too. That's Wendy Bourne and Lauren Jansen and Annie Patterson. Some of you may know them from various kinds of music. Annie Patterson is one of the moving forces behind the Rise Up Singing books, which everybody is it's like the real book of folk music. And Wendy is a longtime collaborator of mine. She's a great swing guitarist and ran the Swing Week at Augusta for many years. So there's that, and that's going to be at Gwynedd Friends Meeting, which is John and Marjorie Sprouse's home base, on Sunday, June 18th. Now, if you don't like that kind of music and you're not going to go there, you should think real seriously about contacting Ann Mintz, because that same night she's having a house concert with my old friend Chris Newman and his mate Maura Niklazik. And Chris is a great flat-picking guitarist, both jazz and Celtic and swing, whatever you want, he can do it. And Maura is an unbelievable Celtic harpist. She's just beyond words. So if you're not going to come out to Gwynedd, then go see Chris and Maura at Ann's house. And I think that's all those announcements. So today is Sunday, and I'm here, and I'm in town until mid-July now. There may be some changes in the schedule soon, I'm considering it. But for the time being, we'll stick with 3 a week. So I'll be on tomorrow at 3 p.m. I'm pretty sure that Cozy and Charlie are out of town for the next 2 or 3 weeks. So I don't think there will be a Tuesday morning Cozy Sheridan and Charlie Koch show. And then Wednesday, I will be back at 3 o'clock for another concert. And that pretty much takes care of the announcements. And so we can move on to the next tune. And this was also a request from David Arthur Ratcliffe, who may or may not be listening in. And I'm sure you will be happy to hear it. ENSUE by Davy Graham, written by Davy Graham, perfected by Bert Jansch, as I always say and truly believe. So anyhow, this week was Bob Dylan's 82nd birthday, and so I thought I'd close out with a couple Bob Dylan songs today. Well, if you're traveling to the North Country Fair, where the wind hits heavy on the borderline, remember me to one who lives there. For she once was a true love of mine. And if you go when the snowflakes storm, when the rivers freeze and summer ends, please see she has a coat so warm to keep her from the howling wind. Please see that her hair's hanging down, how it rolls and flows all down her breast. Please see for me that her hair's hanging long, for that's the way I remember her the best. Well, I'm wondering if she remembers me at all. Many times I've often prayed in the darkness of my night, and in the brightness of my day. If you're traveling to the North Country Fair, where the winds hit heavy on the borderline, remember me to one who lives there. For she once was a true love of mine. The Girl from the North Country by Bob Dylan, one of the earliest Bob Dylan songs I wanted to learn and one of the earliest ones I did learn. I think Blowin' in the Wind must have come first. But this was not far behind. Let me just tune this baby up to give us a fighting chance to sound good in drop G. That's pretty good. Okay. From another of Bob Dylan's many eras comes this one. one morning the sun was shining. I was laying in bed, wondering if she had changed at all, if her hair was still red. Her folks, they said our lives together sure was gonna be tough. They never did like Mama's homemade dress, Daddy's bank book wasn't big enough. And I was standing by the side of the road, rain pouring on my shoes, headed out for the East Coast. Lord knows I've paid some dues getting through. Tangled up in blue. Now she was married when we first met, soon to be divorced. I helped her out of a jam, I guess, but I used a little too much force. We drove that car as far as we could, abandoned it out west. We broke up on a dark, sad night, both agreeing it was best. She turned around to look at me as I was walking away. I heard her say over my shoulder, "We'll meet again someday on the avenue." Tangled up in blue. Now I had a job in the great Northwest, working as a cook for a spell, but I never did like it all that much. And one day the axe just fell. So I drifted down to New Orleans, where my luck was to be employed, working for a while on a fishing boat just outside of Delacroix. But all the time I was alone, the past was close behind. You know, I've seen a lot of women, but you never escaped my mind, and I just grew tangled up in blue. She was working in a topless place, and I stopped in for a beer. I just kept staring at the side of her face in the spotlight so clear. And then later on, when the crowd thinned out, I was just about to do the same. She was standing there beside my chair. She said, "Tell me, don't I know your name?" Well, I muttered something underneath my breath. She studied the lines in my face. I must admit, I felt a little uneasy when she bent down to tie the laces of my shoe. Tangled up in blue. Now she lit a burner on the stove and offered me a pipe. "I thought you'd never say hello," she said. "You look like the silent type." And then she opened up a book of poems and offered it to me, written by an Italian poet from the 13th century. And every one of them words rang true, glowed like burning coals, leaping off of every page, like they were written in my soul from me to you. Tangled up in blue. Well, I lived with them on Montague Street, in the basement down the stair. There was music in the cafes at night and revolution in the air. Then he started into dealing with slaves, and something inside of him died. She had to sell everything she owned and froze up inside. And then when finally the bottom fell out, I became withdrawn. The only thing I knew how to do was to keep on keeping on like a bird that flew, tangled up in blue. So now I'm headed back again. I got to get to her somehow. All those people we used to know, they're an illusion to me now. Some are mathematicians, some are carpenters' wives, I don't know how it all got started. I don't know what we did with our lives. But me, I'm still on the road, headed for another joint. We always did feel the same. We just saw it from a different point of view. Tangled up in blue. Tangled Up in Blue by Bob Dylan off of the Blood on the Tracks album. So it's good to see you all here again. I will read your comments. I saw multiple allergy-related comments here, but I don't have time to read them. If there's anybody I missed, Sharon March is here, Kate Petrella, and John Rossi. Good to see you guys. And anybody else I do not know. I think I got pretty much all of you to say hello to. So much love to you all. Hopefully I'll see you tomorrow at 3 o'clock. Charlie has never made an appearance here. I'm going to go check on him when I get off of here. And much love to the whole bunch of yous. Have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.